All right. Welcome to the Vroomy Vroomy Temp holiday special. A very temperate Christmas.
Well, it's not temperate, but
It's
it's
temperature.
temperature at
Let's get tempered to it. It's room
temperature.
temperature.
It's not hot. It's not cool.
It's Christmas.
It's Christmas.
It's holiday season.
That's
It's
right.
Happy Honda Days. It's Toyota-thon. It's Ford Trucktober. And it's Mitsubishi's Merrily We Go wassailing to our Mitsubishi store sales event. And we wonder why they're not doing so hot in this part of the world. They
I
can't
love
advertise.
Happy Honda Days is my favorite holiday.
I know. We all know. Happy Honda Days. There are so many. Did you get that fucking thing I sent you, that SNL skit? I'm sure every car guy's talking about the SNL skit. Um, they spoofed the December to Remember commercial last Saturday.
Ah,
Have
yeah,
you
it
seen
was.
that?
I saw that. It was so good.
You bought a Lexus? This is a major purchase. It's only $488 due at signing. And like, what's the monthly payment? The what?
The what?
Uh
How many times did that actually happen in your experience selling cars?
Never. I've never dealt with somebody who actually thought that before, ever. Actually thought like due at signing was like all you have to pay for a car. Absolutely not. I've dealt with people who like didn't understand that like there was a difference between leasing and financing, even though I explained it to them. I mean, I was an assistant and I'll at this specific example I'm about to give, but we had this like couple who were like they were like an urban couple, and they had been like working for a long time, and they had waited to have kids, and they had saved up a bunch of money, and they decided they wanted to step up from their like 12-year-old Highlander that they inherited from one of their like dead moms. And like they ended up leasing this Lexus NX, and they got mad when they found out that they couldn't put aftermarket wheels on it.
I mean, they
Like,
could.
it's
They
like, yeah, you
just
can. They're like, well, the way we're like, we can't pay for them if we do it the way we want to do it. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And they said, we want to take these wheels off and sell them and then buy new wheels. And I was like, I mean, you can, but you're going to have to buy them back when you turn the car in. And we
yeah.
had to like sit down and like, we had told them this from day one. We were like, when you bring the car back at the end of the lease, it has to be in the same condition. And they were like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, what do you mean it has to be the same? What if it has dents and dings? And it's like, that's part of the forgiveness insurance you're buying. You know, if anything's under a certain cost, I mean, like, unless it's like over $5,000 in worth of damage, the insurance is going to cover that for you. And they're like, well, what about what we can't like do what we want? I mean, like, remember, you don't really own this car, and they
You're
hate hearing
borrowing it.
that you're leasing this car. And they were like, well, so you're telling me that like we're not allowed to do this? I'm like, you can do whatever you want, but you have to bring it back to us the way you bought it. Or you like, well, what if we don't do that? Like, then you're gonna get dinged for the loss of value. I mean, let's say you make 5,000. If those tires are worth, if those wheels and tires are worth $2,000 a pop, you're gonna owe Lexus Financial $8,000 when your lease is up. Or you can take those wheels off, put your new wheels on, and then when it's time to bring it back, put those. I mean, I'm sure the tires will still be good in 36 months. I mean, just stick them back on. They're like, well, we can't afford new wheels. We want new wheels, and we can't afford new wheels unless we sell these wheels. And it's like, holy shit, the way you like go through life is so fucked up.
Just
Just
buy
like
and sell everything.
just buy this to pay off that. Like, it's like uncut gems. It's just like, I got to pawn this that doesn't belong to me so I can pay this guy back. And then I got to borrow money from him so I can pay the guy back that I stole his shit from so I can pay this dude back. And it was mind blowing. But I've never had anybody like be like, all I have to do is give you $4,000 and this car is mine. You used to be able to tell customers that before 2008. Like, now all the car commercials are like, they used to be like, just pay 488 and drive home in a new Kia. Just pay 488, drive home in a new Kia. Now it's just pay 488 and then pay 341 a month for your new Kia. Like, that's how the commercials change that. They have to disclose that you will be making a monthly payment. That used to not be the law. They used to just, they used to be able to just get away with saying, pay the down payment and the car is yours. But now there's like, anti predatory lending laws and whatever. I don't know. I'm not a
Ugh.
finance guy. If you can't afford, get what my only advice to any car shopper is get the car that you can afford. Get the best car that you can afford. And that's the only advice I give people anymore. I've given so much advice and I've told people that I don't like their car. I don't think it's a good idea to buy that car. And they're either like, oh, okay, thanks for the heads up. Or they're just like, fuck you. What do you know? I love that car.
What do you know? You only
What
do
do
this
you
every
know?
day.
What do you know about the Fiat 500? I mean, that's not a piece of shit. It looks great.
It's such a cute car. How can it be shitty and awful?
Your green disappeared.
My what?
Your whole screen was green. I thought you did that on purpose.
Oh, no.
Oh, it looked cool. It was very Grinch. Speaking of the Grinch, since it's Christmas time, 1 week till Christmas, we're shooting this. I'll date this episode. I don't give a fuck. 1 week till Christmas. It's December 17th. I haven't even uploaded the last episode of Room Temp yet.
Roomy temp temp.
Roomy Temp Tip yet because I can't remember what we did and I haven't edited it yet. Well, I'm getting there.
Maybe 2 episodes go up at once. Who can say?
Christmas miracle. But speaking of the Grinch, let's talk about Hollywood's Grinch, Christopher Nolan.
Yeah, everybody loves that on their car podcast.
Well, Tenet has something to do with cars. I saw Tenet.
Okay, there we go. Perfect.
Tenet has a cool car chase scene in it, where it's like going backwards and forwards in time at the same time. All right, let me just say this movie was really, really fucking cool. But at the same time, I have no idea what the fuck is going on, like really. Like I pride myself on like my ability to understand these quote unquote complicated movies. Like I don't think Inception was that complicated.
Nah.
I don't think Interstellar was that complicated, really.
No.
When you just like boil it down to like what it's about.
Right. I think the problem people have with that is they try to understand it in the context of how reality works.
Yeah, instead of like the movie.
Right. Instead of like, how does this universe work?
Right. And there's like, they do have you ever seen Austin Powers 2? Do you know the scene where like Austin is just like, well, if I go back in time and then I interact with myself in the future, then back in time, oh no, I've gone cross-eyed. And Basil is just like, I suggest you just don't think about it and enjoy the ride. And he looks right at the camera and goes, and that goes for you at home as well. And like, there's a scene like that in Tenet where like the scientist lady just tells Denzel Washington's son, who's the main star of this movie, don't think about it, just feel it. And I was like, she's just, there it is. And he's just like, oh, okay. And he sticks his hand out and the whole shit, it works. Just like,
yeah.
oh, I got it now. I can feel it. Your green is back. But
I bet it's this Chinese webcam.
In the context of the fucking movie this time, yeah, the like, I couldn't make heads or tails of it. It got to about halfway through the movie, I was keeping up really well, and then it just sort of like falls off. And honestly, the visuals, the acting, the story, which is pretty basic. I mean, it's just a Bond movie, and the music especially. Cinematography, it's Christopher Nolan. Everything looks cool in his fucking movies. Everything's all slick and like really kind of like cutting edge and tactical, with a mixture of like tactical and luxury shit.
Tactical,
yeah. It's like, you know, that guy whose Instagram feed is just like pictures of Glocks on like marble tables with like ashtrays full of half smoked cigars.
Okay.
And like he's flashing his Rolex on his wrist. That's who Christopher Nolan's like really for. And it appeals to me because I like all that trash. But like this time, still, this was just felt like Christopher Nolan really wanted to entertain his audience. Like he really wanted like to give you like a fucking like thrill ride, like blow your eardrums out, eyegasm that was just a blast to watch, but not as stupid as like, you know, I like the Avengers, but it's not like a dumb kids movie like the Avengers. This is like a sexy Bond movie. I keep coming back to James Bond because it just felt so much like a fucking like Bond spy movie. And those like distractions, those like elements of the film were like enough to keep me distracted from how fucking ape shit the plot is. It just like made no sense. The characters were kind of weak. There was no like emotional involvement. I wasn't like emotionally invested in
This
the main.
sounds like a bad movie.
It's not a bad movie. It's a very well made movie that has some glaring flaws. It doesn't have glaring plot holes like Inception has. It does have like just like some writing problems. Christopher Nolan sacrificed character development in the name of thrills, which he doesn't always do. He sometimes does. Like the opposite of this movie, if we were just in his filmography, would be like The Dark Knight. Like we establish characters, we care about them, they have like emotional backstories. And then he's even pulls off the Joker has no background, but we like give a shit about what he does because he seems like a fucking crazy person. And
Yeah, he's an interesting character.
but this show, it's just like we don't like halfway through, you're kind of like, wait, why is this guy even doing this? Like, why is the main character's name is literally protagonist?
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. He is protagonist. Because if you are moving forward through time, you are a protagonist. If you're moving backward through time, or as this movie calls it, inverted, if your entropy is inverted, then you are an antagonist. But in order for an antagonist to exist, a protagonist has to reverse their entropy. So if a protagonist doesn't do the thing, if he doesn't do the thing, which nobody understands in the movie, the antagonist can't exist. So like two lanes of reality are existing parallel to each other, forwards and back, and it all depends on like if you're inverted or not.
That sounds stupid as hell.
It is stupid, but man, it makes for cool fucking Hollywood shit. Like it's fucking cool. It's just the car chase scene is fucking cool. The music fucking rules. And this is how I know that Christopher Nolan wanted to make $1 billion. This is the first Christopher Nolan film, I believe, to have a theme song done by like a prominent musician. The theme song was done by Travis Scott, who is a rapper apparently.
I believe he is from the video game Fortnite.
Oh yes, and McDonald's. He's famous
Yeah.
for McDonald's, and he does McDonald's and he does Fortnite, and now he does Christopher Nolan's. And he made his own Christopher Nolan, and it was actually pretty good. It was a good. The music was the best Christopher Nolan music since The Dark Knight. Inception had the worst music. I hate the fucking blah. That's not music. That's just like
I think it works. I remember one of the first apps I had for my iPhone 4 was the official Inception app, which was basically a glorified soundboard, and it fucking ruled.
oh my god, that's fucking great.
What if you could just make the blah whenever you wanted to?
That would be cool. That movie was deafening. People were saying Tenet was deafening in the theaters, and I will bet it was. I will bet it was fucking deafening. I mean, it was like it was sort of like a really like driving like techno soundtrack. It was a different composer than he usually works for or works with. It was the same guy that did the Mandalorian soundtrack. I thought it was good. It was really interesting. And it was like one of the probably his, if Interstellar is his prettiest film, then this was his second prettiest. Everything felt like a Michael Mann movie, like Heat or Collateral or something like that. Every frame is just lined up very well. Everything is just so clearly communicated. It's obviously made by someone with a very well developed visual vocabulary. And that impressed me. The story was weak as fuck. The plot was nonsense. But I mean, what do you want in a movie that promises to blow your face off? I mean, it's not a thinker. And that's what pissed me off about it, is like, why am I thinking so hard about this movie that's so obviously not a thinker? So I'm gonna watch it again, and I'm sure once I watch it like 2 or 3 times, I'll get it.
You'll finally enjoy it.
Well, there's
Once
no
I just
I enjoyed it though. That's my point. Is I really, really enjoyed watching it. I was just confused by it. I have no problem watching it again. I'm looking forward to it.
James, I am playing the Microsoft Flyer. Where should I fly?
Seattle. I was talking about
Yeah,
going to Seattle. I'm gonna go to Seattle.
yeah. You want me to fly in Seattle?
I'm gonna go to Seattle. I
Or
got
no,
a
I
real
should
hunch.
try and find you again.
In Edmonton, don't come to Edmonton. Edmonton's so fucking boring.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. You're right. I shouldn't do that. Let's go check out Smarmar. That'll be fun. All right. Great. Um, okay. So, what are you looking for? So what is are you looking forward to driving your Volkswagen Tiguan, most regularist car ever made? I'm sorry, your Volkswagen Golf, even more regular car, from Norman, Oklahoma down to Texas?
Kind of not really. The Golf has one flaw when it comes to long driving, and that's the seats aren't very good.
Ooh,
Yeah,
that that is the thing I appreciate most about my Civic versus my Fiesta is those Fiesta seats were very supportive and very comfy inside of like 2 hours. And they felt great as long as you didn't sit in them longer than 2 hours. If you sat in them long for 2 hours, your lower back just stopped existing.
that's the problem I have with the Volkswagen is it's the lower back pain. It's just like there's no support.
Hmm.
Um, and it's just because there's no like butt cushion, and that's what causes like lower back pain. Is just not having an ass.
Yeah, I mean, for what it's worth, my S2000, um, that car that gave me shooting awful pain when I tried driving it back from. Oh, I just got text from you that you just got home. Cool. It gave me shooting pain when I was driving it from North Carolina. I had to stop every like, we'll say 90 minutes. Oh, good. You posted the Zoom link in the Discord. I had to stop like every 90 minutes just to uh, walk around because my hips hurt so bad from sitting in this tiny car for so long. But my back always felt fine.
I've actually
Maybe
thought about my dad offered to let me take one of the other cars. I might just take one of those. It's just the gas is really expensive, but
what,
it's
like the
more
Mercedes?
comfortable, and I can yeah, one of the Mercedes, and I can bring a lot more home from my storage unit.
Yeah.
So I may just leave the Golf here. There, like ever since I moved to Oklahoma, there are just fewer and fewer reasons to drive it. Every time I go pick up Daisy, I don't take the Golf. I take the fucking Mercedes with the crate in it.
Yeah, why would you?
Yeah. I mean, it's keeping the miles down. It's like the least amount of miles I've put on a new car that I've ever owned. It only has like 8,600 miles on it, and I've owned it for like 9 months.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that's like something my dad and I have been talking about cars a lot. He's like, well, what kind of car do you think you'll get next? I'm like, I have no idea, but I would like something more comfortable than the Golf. The GTI and the Golf R is way more comfortable because they have actually supportive seats. I should just like see if I can find GTI seats
Yeah,
similar
that's a
to the
thing.
Golf. That's like that would be easy. I mean, they're just manual anyway. It's not there's no wiring. They're heated, so I'd have to find heated seats. The heated seats I appreciate.
Does no, I don't want that. Does it have the same seats as the Tiguan? Because I like the Tiguan seats.
I think it might. I mean, it definitely might. They might be a different like stitching pattern or something,
Sure, sure, yeah.
but like it definitely might. The Tiguan is a comfy ass car. The Tiguan is just a more comfortable version of the Golf. I mean, actually, since the MQB platform is a thing now, they're all just the Golf. I mean, like the Passat is dead. I think we're going to see a Jetta wagon come to the United States.
Really? I
Hmm.
don't think so.
I think it's going to be like a lifted up version of the Jetta wagon.
Oh, yeah, and they put like some body cladding on it. Like they used to have one of those, right? Like the Active Sport or something.
The Golf All Track,
All track, right?
but it was too small. The problem with the Golf All Track was the Golf wagon was like a pretty good deal, but it just wasn't that much bigger than a Golf.
Yeah.
Like a Tiguan was always a better deal than a Golf Sport wagon. I mean, it just had more room for the same price. and it got the same gas mileage essentially. I think it got like 5 mpg less. Like if you're not hyper miling, you don't give a fuck.
Yeah, it's all the same.
It is pretty much all the same. That's what irritated me about the fucking. I really wanted one of those Golf All Tracks because honestly, compared to like what two other wagons on the market, you got a pretty nice interior and you got pretty nice this, that, and the other, and you got nice bells and whistles, but it's kind of it.
Is that basically the Audi All Road?
No, it's smaller than an all road. It's if there was an A3 wagon, that's what it would be. The
Gotcha.
all road is based on the A4, and then there's an A6. A6 is closer in size to like something like a Mercedes E Class or a BMW 5 Series or Mazda 6 or a Honda Accord. It's weird because like okay, so Volkswagen says the Golf is technically like a subcompact and that the Jetta is a compact. But like in reality, the Jetta is closer to a mid-size sedan. So because the Jetta is like priced to compete with a Civic. The cheapest version of a Jetta, if you got a manual transmission base model Jetta, is like 16 grand. It is so phenomenally cheap.
Yeah, that's like well equipped fit money.
Volkswagen never made anything to compete with a Fit in the States. Remember the Up? Did you ever see an Up? Up
Yeah, I mean,
exclamation point?
I've seen pictures of the Up and the Polo online. I've never actually seen one.
The Polo is like closer to like a Nissan Versa in size. The Polo's like really tall and like wide. It's
Yeah,
bigger than a Golf. And like I don't get it. I don't know why Europe always has like there's like so many different compact cars you can buy that are just the same thing, only a little lumpier in different areas. Like I don't get why we have the Golf, the Polo, and then the Golf Sport Wagon, and then the Scirocco, and then the Amarok, and then the Tiguan's aren't really sold in Europe. Well, no, they are. The Tiguan R is over there. We'll never get it.
why not?
These Americans don't want to pay that much money for something like that. They just don't. I mean, like Ford is trying to penetrate the market with like performance crossovers. I mean, the Mustang Mach-E is getting really good reviews. The Ford Edge ST, the Ford um, Explorer ST, they're selling okay. They're just really expensive. The general consensus on the Edge ST, I mean, I think Savage Geese put it best when he said, thanks, but no thanks. It's just, if you
Who is
want
this
to,
for?
who is it for? Exactly. Who is it for? It's not for dads. Dads don't care. Dads don't want SUVs. They would either buy a truck or they'd buy a sedan.
Yeah,
Mom doesn't care unless she does, but typically she won't. Teens don't. Young people are just like, that's great, but I have more like pre-owned escape money because I am young. I don't have money for a $50,000 Ford. So it's just sort. I mean, it's the same thing with the Mustang Mach-E. It's like a $54,000 electric vehicle, and it's like, who's going to buy this? I don't think Ford. I mean, the only reason Ford called that thing a Mustang is because they have to have something with the brand equity to go up against Tesla.
right. And they don't care. Ford doesn't care about like heritage brands and like what they're worth and all that
None.
shit.
Nobody does. No one does. I mean, if Chevy cared about it, they would be putting that on every single. There's a Suburban commercial that finally came out that celebrates 100 years of Chevrolet Suburban. The Suburban nameplate has been around longer than any other nameplate in automotive history that's still available. But they just are, when they talk about heritage, they talk about Corvette, they talk about Camaro, Ford talks about Mustang or the GT, the Le Mans victories. They always talk about performance and sport. It doesn't matter that the milk truck has been around forever. The
Right.
thing that sounds like God gargling wasps and like beat Italy on the racetrack. And that's right over here. No one will question your erection size now. Because that's what we really care about. We really care about compensating for our inadequacies. And these cars write that check that our personalities will never be able to cash. So um, that's the negative connotation with liking Mustangs and stuff. And I will say that is a victory for the Ford Mustang Mach-E, because the Ford Mustang Mach-E is all the good things about having a Mustang with none of the bad. It has bad things about it, but they're not the same bad things as like the bad things that come with having a Mustang. Nobody's going to think you're some backwards hat wearing, arm curl doing only on gym day, no leg day ever, no cardio. Cheeseburger, meat and cheese plain is my favorite meal. Tattoo of Betty Boop having motherfucker with a tribal fucking t shirt from Ed Hardy, even though they went out of style 14 years ago. Dirt bag if you're in a Mach E. They're going to think, what the fuck is that car? And then you're going to have a conversation. You're
Oh
gonna
God, spare
this
me.
is can you imagine the conversations? I'm just calling this now. This is what like Doug DeMuro and people are gonna talk about. Like DeMuro already reviewed the Mustang and he didn't talk about this, I don't think. I can never sit down and watch a whole one of his reviews. They're always too long. But like he liked the Mustang. I didn't. Um the conversations that you're going to have at like electric stations being like, what car is that? Is that the Mustang thing Ford promised? Is that a Ford? Is that a Tesla?
Is
Is that
that a Tesla?
is that a is that Barack Obama? Is that communism?
Is that former President Barack Obama there?
Is that homosexual mobile? Is that the clown homosexual mobile that homosexuals drive because they're clowns? You know, normal human questions.
Right.
But and you're gonna have to be like, it's a Ford, it's a Mustang. Well, it's actually an electric car. Well, Ford made this SUV and called it an electric Mustang. Yeah, I don't think it looks like a Mustang either. Well, it was either this or a Tesla. Yeah, I do like it better than a Tesla. No, it doesn't have a key. Yeah, you start it with your phone. No, I know there's no doorknobs. Isn't that weird? Yeah, this one actually has like a little grip on the inside. What's that? Oh, that's just my bottle of Mondo and 99 bananas and Gorilla Tape. That was a regular cars quote. Did we talk about regular selling the Falcon already? Anyway, Mustang Mach-E. I
Mustang.
don't like you because you're a bloated SUV with four doors, but I think you're interesting. Did you watch the Jamiro review on it?
No.
There's some interesting shit. Like there's too many fucking screens. The gauge cluster is a screen now,
I mean
but
that's pretty standard. I hate it. That's
but
pretty
it's
standard.
not hooded. It's just glued behind the steering wheel and it's
What?
freestanding like an iPad.
I remember this is what we talked about on the as of yet unreleased episode. Um, how the hood is so critical.
Yes, the hood is critical. And it was nice to have on GPSs, and it would be nice to have again, but it's critical on your gauge cluster. And Ford has forsaken it. And it's just like, okay, I can't fucking see how fast I'm going. Okay? Like, I, come on, fucking people, come on. Like, I want to know how fast I'm going. I would just be enraged if like a sunbeam caught that thing on the and Demiro's going over all this shit. Like, if you put it in like sport mode, it changes. It has like these 3D shapes and they like turn orange the faster you go. And it looks like the fucking Fifth Element when like the lines on the stone tablets like light up and start glowing and shit.
I
It's like,
still haven't seen
ooh,
that movie.
the prophecy. Oh, that's right. Fuck. Well, we'll watch that over New Year's. I've got it on DVD. I'll bring it down. Um, yeah, it's the prophecy is foretold. The car will accelerate to 60 miles an hour, just as it is written in ancient times. Put in eco mode, it changes into these like blue ocean waves. And that's all well and good if it's functional. Like that's just fluff and decoration that obviously the market says the consumer wants to buy. But if it's not functional, if the sunlight gets in the way, if you can't see how fast you're going, you failed. It's not a good design. It's a fail. So I don't know. We'll have to see. I'm sure they told Demuro something about like, oh, it uses special matte finish touchscreen material that absorbs sunlight. Probably turns that into battery power. But he did say it handled better than a Model Y, which I'm not surprised. I think Ford really, They're not so stupid as to know that we can call this a Mustang but not make it a fun car to drive. They're making a fun car on purpose. They know they have to make it fun.
Yeah, I think the thing that all the other manufacturers have realized is that Teslas are sexy cars, but they're shitty cars.
Yeah,
So
they're
if they can,
DeLoreans.
right. So if they can win on quality, even if they can't win on hype, that's something.
I mean, it's something, but it's not selling.
Yeah.
The point is they wouldn't do this if they didn't think there was money to be made. And they want to sell as many cars as Tesla because they want all that money that Tesla is taking for themselves. They want that market share. They want to sell more electric cars than Tesla. And it hurts their egos too. I mean, it's like Ford is getting outsold by this guy who wants to go to Mars that gave us fast go-karts. I mean, it's like he makes flamethrowers in his spare fucking time. Why don't I have one of those things?
The boring flamethrowers.
Yeah. Nah, I'd hurt somebody. It's not even funny. I, I would hurt person. Oh.
Apparently better.
Anyway, Tesla to me, Elon Musk is like a modern day John Z. DeLorean.
Yeah.
I think we've like passed the point in time where like he's not gonna get arrested for like trafficking cocaine.
No.
He's he's not gonna go to jail. Some of the shit he's done is immoral, and some of it might even be illegal. But I don't think we're gonna see like a fucking scandal. I guess he's also nowhere near as interested in running a car company as he is to like making those rockets. He just wants to go to Mars. He just wants to be like Iron Man, just like make rockets. That's where his passion is.
His passion is making babies. He has like 16 kids or some weird shit like that.
Yeah, he's been married like 3 or 4 times, and he has like 2 kids with each or some shit.
It's
It's
like
kind of
three
weird.
kids. That's a lot.
He's gonna be one of those dads that's just like, I am spreading my seed and my brain
So
throughout
gross.
infinitum. Whatever, man. It's like Will Smith is like that, where it's like his kids have to be famous like him. It's so creepy. It's so weird. And his kids are just like fucking weirdos. His like daughter was in that fucking like music video and it was like way over sexualized for like a 13-year-old girl. And it's just like, this dude, why would you do this?
How can mirrors be real if our eyes aren't real?
What are trees?
Was that a Jaden Smith
Yeah,
quote?
that was a Jane Smith tweet. His Twitter was so good back in the day. I don't think he's on Twitter anymore.
Good for him. He shouldn't be.
I fucking loved. He made that fucking anime that I thought was pretty good on Netflix. Did you ever watch it? Where he had Jude Law was his robot butler.
What? No.
Oh God, what was that called? He was obsessed with Toblerones.
What?
Fuck, that show was so good. It had like
This
two
isn't
seasons.
this isn't real.
Yeah, it was like an American anime. It was Jaden Smith anime. It was good. It was like he like solves mysteries and he's like a rich fashionista. Neo Yokio.
Neo Yokio.
It was I thought it was hilarious. I watched the first couple seasons. My gay friend Robert from Dallas was like, "You have to watch this, James. Like, sit here and watch this with me." And it was so fucking funny. It like kind of makes fun of anime while being anime. It's sort of a ripoff of Perfect Hair Forever, but it's not Perfect Hair Forever.
Perfect Hair Forever and Paranoia Agent were two animes that I saw all the time on Adult Swim, and I never understood at all.
God, Perfect Hair Forever is my favorite. You're a boy who is a mountain, who is a tree. Perfect hair forever.
What?
You'll see. Buy some things to take with you to the mountain which does not exist. Perfect hair forever. I wonder if I bet you could watch that on Adult Swim. It was online a couple years ago, and I sat through the whole thing again. I was like, memories. That and did you ever watch 12 Ounce Mouse?
No.
Oh my god, that's an obscure Adult Swim show. It is that is maybe that and Xavier Renegade Angel were probably like the two weirdest shows that I ever saw on Adult Swim. Xavier was like really fucking out there. It was good though. That was by the guys that made. Did you ever watch Wonder Shows?
Mm-mm.
That was an MTV show that was on long before Adult Swim, and it was like a ripoff of Sesame Street. And it was kind of like Jackass, where they would like do Sesame Street style interviews. It was a lot like Eric Andre. If there's anything on the air right now that it reminds me of, it's a lot like Eric Andre show. But I didn't really like care for this season of Eric Andre. I think they've played their hand. I think it's like Borat. 2 movies. Okay, don't do anything else. Just leave it alone. 5 seasons of Eric Andre. That's enough. No more Eric Andre.
Yeah, I think the thing is that you can't be subversive forever because
Yeah, because people know who you are after. If like you know, in Borat 2, he walks around on the street and like everybody knows who the fuck he is this time because he's fucking Borat.
right.
Eric Andre had kind of the same problem, but after like a certain point, it just becomes like it's like a headache. It's just like okay, it's like eating too much candy. Like Eric Andre, if you binge watch a season of Eric Andre, it's like, no, I can't. I'm like, I can't see him just like trick people again. Like, or like just be professionally annoying. And he's very good at that, like street, like kind of like play bit stuff. He's funny as hell. But I would hate to see Eric Andre get like played out and just like everybody be tired of Eric Andre.
Yeah. Which I mean, he's dangerously close to like.
Yeah, I mean, he makes Adult Swim a lot of money, so they give him the big bucks just to make shit. And like, who could blame him? I can't name another show on Adult Swim right now.
Yeah.
I have not looked online. There was this other show actually. I can't remember what it was called.
Well, they modeled the Rocket Garden at Kennedy in this game.
It was funny. The Rocket Gardener.
The Rocket Garden.
What game are you playing?
Flight Sim.
Oh, nice.
Have you ever actually been to the Kennedy Space Center in Orlando?
No, I've never been to Orlando.
You would love it.
Why did I googled Animal Crossing and I meant to Google Adult Swim? What the fuck?
Freudian slip. The Rocket Garden is super fucking cool.
Yeah,
It's
that's where
just
they
like,
have the Saturn V taken apart, right?
yeah. I haven't
I've
been
seen
since I
it.
was a little kid, but
There's a new
next time I'm forward,
infomercial.
I'll go.
Oh, fuck. Eric Andre is front and center on Adult Swim's website. Adult
course he
Swim
is.
app, yeah. And the cursor is a stick of lipstick, and you can draw faces on people. I do like Channel 5. That Channel 5 is a thing. They just have a live stream that's 24/7. Tim and Eric. It's just called Channel 5.
Perfect.
Black Jesus, that was on pretty recently. Did you ever watch Dream Corp LLC?
Yeah, I didn't think it was super good.
Oh, really? I loved that show. Robot Chicken. I haven't watched Rick and Morty in like 2 years. I got really tired of that quick.
Yeah, I think because Rick and Morty was the same thing. It was a good subversive cartoon in the same way that like Family Guy and South Park were when they started, but you can't be subversive when you're the most popular show on the network.
We see like South Park was able to change with the times, and it became actually like I don't want to be one of these people that's like, "Ooh, South Park's like one of the most intelligent shows out there." It is, but it's like it's got good puns and it's really topical and it makes you like laugh at like the stupidest parts of like the saddest things on earth. It evolved to do that. It like watch season 1 of South Park. It's like a completely different show.
Mm-hmm.
Rick and Morty came out of the gates like it was season 12 of South Park. They were already with this like deep and like what is reality shit and like talking about like how funny being depressed is, that kind of humor, like BoJack Horseman shit. And when you come out of the gate that strong, it's hard to keep like the quality of writing at that level for a really long time. And I think that's why it takes so long between seasons of Rick and Morty. And Adult Swim is just like, we gotta have more. We gotta keep getting more and more Rick and Morty because that's what everybody wants. The internet's going crazy. Freaks are flipping out at McDonald's for Szechuan sauce.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think one of the things that has always struck with me about these sorts of shows is I read an analysis of South Park that said that the more recent seasons focus on Randy so much more than the kids, because like if you watch South Park, the kids are like almost hardly in it anymore.
Yeah, Randy's like the main character of South Park now.
Yeah. And the thesis of the article was that this is an extremely unconscious choice by Trey and Matt because they are getting so much older and they can't identify with like the childish and immature problems of the kids. And like, because it was never actually about literal fourth graders, but it was about fourth graders having very immature, like teenage, early 20s problems, or like these very contrived fourth grade problems. And they ran out of those situations. And Matt and Trey are like, what, pushing 50, 60 now?
50s. They're in their 50s. I mean, when they made
Yeah.
South Park, they were in their mid 20s.
Yeah, exactly. So like they don't identify with like these young people problems. They identify with what is my business looking like? How can I have how can I have a positive reputation in my community? Like the shit that Randy cares about is the shit that they care about. That's their life. That's what they see.
I agree with everything you said, except for the part where the article says it's an unconscious move by Trey Parker and Matt Stone. I bet they fucking did that on purpose. I bet they were like, let's just fucking focus on Randy because we identify with him more than we care about our protagonists. Let's see if anybody gives a shit. They have repeatedly said that they will not stop making the show until it gets canceled. They're like, we will not just end South Park. We will get canceled. And so maybe they're just like, fuck it. Randy's the star now
Yeah.
because they don't give a shit. They're like, I mean, I hate to be so bleak, but like, how could you give a shit when you're even at your worst? I haven't watched South Park in like 2 years. And I guarantee you the last time I saw South Park is because I was in the same room with a certain Alex. And it was fine.
Yeah.
It was fine. It's just I used to get so excited for that fucking show. Now it's just well, I guess that's like anything. Like in being in like middle school and like Family Guy was like the funniest thing ever. And then like American Dad came on like, oh, there's two Family Guys. And the Cleveland show, there's a black Family Guy. And then it was funny. And then other shit Matt Parker and Trey Stone did. Have you ever seen Team America World Police?
Oh yeah.
Oh God, what a great fucking movie.
That is a really good movie.
Have you ever noticed that when they're in France, the cobblestone on the street is in the shape of croissants?
No.
Yes, watch it again. All the stone work in France is croissants. Their
Team
first,
America
we have to watch
is
their first movie one time. It's called Cannibal the Musical, and I know I've tried to get you to watch it before. I didn't mean to interrupt. Go.
no, I was just gonna say that there is Team America is such a dense movie and it really Team America is like what I like movies to be, like movies that reward repeated viewings and are just insanely poured over by their creators
Yeah,
and just
they
honed and honed and honed and honed.
they used to call that a hit. They used to call movies like that hits. They don't have those anymore.
Yeah.
They just have products. Yeah, I fucking loved. That was one of those movies that we would literally in high school just be like, what are we doing Friday night? We're getting high and watching whatever is still on the shelf, which is like where the Xbox 360 was. And it's just like, what's there? Well, It's Team America World Police, the third Harry Potter film, or motherfucking Pineapple Express again, or The Hangover. And those are those movies that just sort of never got old. I guess Superbad can kind of be in there, but I was never really as into Superbad as I was. Like, dude, there was one summer though, like when Pineapple Express came out, that was one of those movies that like I watched maybe every day for like 3 months. Fucking not even
I
that good of a
remember,
movie.
yeah, I was like a 17 when Pineapple Express came out, and my cousin, who's really into like welding 240s together, and then um,
Oh, you've heard about your cousin.
yeah, you wouldn't believe it, but he's really into weed, and so Pineapple Express was this great movie for him. But for me, it was just kind of like, yeah, I mean, this is a funny movie, but it's completely unrelatable. And
That
also,
was
like the meta joke of Pineapple Express is that the entire movie is a misunderstanding that could have been resolved in like 3 seconds. But it's and like I enjoyed it for that, but you definitely lose a lot from Pineapple Express if you have never smoked and are like 17 and have no interest in it.
yeah, I had like friends who didn't smoke and they were just like, "Oh, that's the fat guys in that." Yeah. That was okay. I didn't really get it. It was kind of dumb. And I was like, "Yeah, it was. I'm so high." I was like smoking the most weed of my life.
It's
Yeah, those were some good times. That came out, I think it was also the summer I had just graduated high school. So
yeah,
it was like kind of a big fucking, it was just a cool movie. And then like Team America World Police is like the 4th of July film we watched every year, that and Independence Day. Like you don't go a 4th of July without watching Team America World Police. And you don't ever really watch it either. You just kind of get fucking hammered and it's on in the background. God, I miss getting drunk so much. Oh, that's right.
there it is.
Mm. We'll get drunk one night when I come down for New Year's. We'll like play with a dog or something. Play Truck Simulator again.
Oh hell yeah!
I gotta get a job somehow.
What if you just became a long haul trucker?
I thought about it. It pays really well, but man, it's lonely. Like it's just too. It's just like you could die and you're going to be alone forever. But I think
Yeah.
other than that, it's a perfect job. Also, driving a truck sucks. Like I don't want to drive one of those fucking things.
Oh yeah. No. God no. That seems awful.
If I could be a professional truck driver, but my truck was like a 911, it would be perfect.
I don't think they have those.
I know. Plus, I don't want to be like 60 years old and being like, well, I don't quite have enough for retirement yet. And then they're just like, too bad, robots are trucks now. It's like, fuck. How are we going to pay for, I guess, retirement? There's nothing else to pay for when you're 60. If I had kids in this hypothetical, they'd be out of college by now. Even if I had kids next year, they'd probably be out of college by the time I was 60. So I'm only 32 essentially.
Essentially,
Mm-hmm. I'll be 40 in 8 years. That's fucked up.
that is fucked up.
Thank God I'm building my podcast empire now.
Right. You're getting a good start on it so that when the darkness comes and takes you over, you'll be ready.
Open your eyes, Brandon. This is the darkness.
This is the heart of the cards.
This is the heart of the cards. The heart of rock and roll is the beat.
The Honda Beat.
Honda beat. Happy Honda days from
Happy
Vroomy
Honda
Vroomy Tip
days.
Tip. Oh, um, yeah. Happy fucking Honda days, everybody. It's been a shit fucked year. Um,
In these trying times.
these were trying times. We just want you to know that Room Temperature is there for you with easy financing and not much else. If we see you in person, we'll kiss you. That's for our fans. It's for our fans. Our fans.
Only our fans.
Only our fans. What does everybody want for Honda days? Any car related goodies coming down Santa's chimney or whatever?
I want $500 to rebuild my CRX's suspension.
Holy shit! Ouchies.
Yeah. List is a little bit bigger now because I realized I can't just replace the front. I have to also replace the shocks in the back. So I need all that shit too.
Um, well, $500 isn't that bad. I mean,
Like for what it gets me, no, it's not. Because that will replace basically everything rubber in the car that is on the suspension. That is not just like bushings. Um, that would get me new everything because it turns out that bushings for like control arms and tie rods and stuff are like $8, but an entire new Chinese made control arm is like $12. So you might as well just get the one that's $12 and doesn't require a trip to a machine shop.
yeah, that makes sense. I mean, are you gonna like? Are you going to? I'm still not super clear what the end goal with this car is, other than just have it for a little while. I mean,
The end,
are
like
you
the goal, right? The immediate goal for this car is to get it where it doesn't feel like dangerous bullshit to drive, like it's going
okay?
to fall apart in 30 seconds. So to that end, I'm going to catch up on maintenance, change all the fluids, and replace all of the rubber in the car with new cheap bushings that are as cheap as I can get them. Um, because I don't really want to spend money on any of this because I don't want to like take a tracking or whatever, and there's no sense in buying good stuff. But it needs new stuff. It needs new everything.
Oh, I mean,
So
yeah. Eventually, I think this car kind of set for a long time, and it just
it's sat for a very long time, and on top of that, when it wasn't sitting, she wasn't super concerned with it. Like she was and she wasn't. Like she kept on top of oil and the timing belt. If it but basically if it wasn't either easy or 100% critical, she didn't do it.
okay.
So that's why the engine mounts were original to the car because they're not critical. You can drive the car with them with the car shaking like hell and like making awful thunking noises, and that's why she said like take care of her, you can't just hard shift it, and she interpreted that as it's my baby, like I have to take care of it, and not there is no rubber left in these engine mounts.
Well, yeah, that's pretty common shit though with like old lady cars of
Right,
this nature.
right. Is it like she never really drove it and she like babied it, so she assumed that all these things that were worn out were just like, oh, this is just how old cars are, and not my car is basically completely broken.
Yeah, and I mean, this was really like a mechanic's car. I mean, this if you were a mechanic, this would just be
Oh shit!
free
I found
essentially.
SpaceX landing pads out here at Cape Canaveral.
They have them.
Yeah, I mean, they're from Bing Maps. They're just like some circles with the X's on the ground. But yeah,
Land on one. Can you fly?
that's
Is there a helicopter in that game?
no,
I'm sure you can put one in there.
that's beyond my abilities.
Mm. I used to mod Flight Simulator 2000 all the time, but it was really just skins. I used
But
to have
anyway,
like
yeah, yeah. So she didn't really keep up with a whole lot of stuff.
that's fair.
So I for right now, I just want to get it to a point where I can drive it, out to like Torchy's or whatever. Probably not Torchy's because Torchy's sucks now. But like that sort of thing, and not worry about, am I going to have to call Haggerty and tow me home? And then once I do that for a while, why are you shaking your head?
Because I don't want you to call Haggerty and have him take you home.
No, yeah, I don't want
I'd
that
be
either.
like, I would never drive it if that was even like a chance of that happening.
Well, I mean, you're gonna drive it, and there is a serious chance of that happening. So get over that.
Well, yeah, all right, I'll get over it. Who gives a fuck? I do want to drive it. I mean, like, I want to, if it's
Yeah.
drivable in any respect when I come down out for New Year's.
So that's the thing is like it's extremely drivable. Like it runs, it moves under its own power, it goes. It's just when you make hard turns in either direction, the axles click like hell
Ugh.
because they have both obviously had torn boots and like gotten greased everywhere and then been repaired, and they were like, well, good enough, instead of doing the right thing, getting new axles. Um,
I mean, axles are, I mean, that's a fucking lot of money no matter what kind of car you're getting them on.
no, I have them in my Rock Auto cart for $30 a side.
Wait, the whole axle?
The whole axle, $60 for two brand new axles.
That's fucking what? They're brand new. They're OEM.
No, 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 no. They are Chinese new, so they are probably like remanufactured, but with like new ball bearings and stuff, so that they can be new.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah. I
I mean, this is
wouldn't.
Rock Auto.
I mean, I wouldn't put Chinese cheapy parts on it
Why not?
because they're never that good a quality.
No, they're not.
Then why are you using them? Like, go get good ones.
It it is a 30-year-old car. It weighs 2,000 pounds. It was factory rated at 80 horsepower 30 years
Yeah, but
ago.
you're gonna drive it. I mean, you're gonna be putting your life in the hands of these Chinese axles.
So I have had axles fail on me, and what happens when axles fail is nothing happens. When axles fail, they break and they're stuck, and so since you have an open differential, the differential routes power to where it gets released resistance, and guess what? That's now where the axle doesn't exist, so it just spins, and then nothing happens, and the car doesn't move. So who
So if it
cares?
fails, if you're on the freeway and that little fucking thing,
You're just like, well, I guess I'm on the shoulder now. Also, I
ugh,
don't drive this car on the freeway. I don't get on 35 or Mopac on this car on purpose. I will never get on the highway on this car.
that's fair. I mean, it is the size of like an original Mini Cooper. I mean, it's so tiny.
It's so small. I saw a guy driving a CRX going the opposite way from me on 35 the other day, and was just like, and I always kind of vaguely think about like, man, you must be crazy, but like owning one now and driving all the time and seeing somebody else driving it down 35, I just couldn't help but think, you are the stupidest motherfucker. I cannot believe you value your life so little.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fuck around town kind of toy car.
Yeah, yeah, dude, it is.
Just yeah.
Like
Um,
I feel immediately and more completely safer in the S2000 than the CRX.
I think I want a Golf R or a WRX STI.
Yeah.
Yeah, because man, I'm gonna tell you. Okay, so when it snowed here the other day, I was just like so tremendously happy to have snow. And I guess I just didn't think like, I could just go live somewhere it snows. Like I haven't like thought about that forever. And I was like, shit, I might just fucking like do that for a little bit once I get like a job. I might just go fucking live somewhere snowy just
Go
for like
hang
a
out with
couple
Sam
years.
Whiteline in Denver.
Hmm.
Sam White lies.
He told me he's buying a house in Denver.
You can go be his roommate and
He's like, yeah, just come on. I'll buy you so many drugs and we'll get so fucked up. But I was like, yeah, that sounds fun. Like when the plague's over, I'm going to go see him. But it'll be summer. And I think Denver in the summertime is actually pretty great. I mean, I like sunshine too. But anyway, my point was like, I think my golf would do fine in some snow. But if you live in an area where it casually snows, like often, you live in an area where there could be a blizzard. And then it would just be like that. That's like, when it stopped snowing the other day, I was like, that's enough.
no more of
Like
this.
6 inches of snow. It snowed for 2 days, and it was just a snow. It wasn't like a blizzard. It wasn't like wind and ice. It was like snorb. We have to call it snorb because the Walt Disney Organization has a trademark on the word snow.
Of course.
But yeah, I just kept thinking to like what Charles said is just like it's so nice when it snows and you can take the Quattro up to the parking lot and just do skids. It's just like, God, I miss that. I can't do that anymore. I mean, both my parents' Mercedes are 4-wheel drive, but like
All-wheel drive.
one of them might actually have a locking diff and be 4-wheel. No, I think they're both 4MATIC. 4MATIC is all-wheel drive. Yeah, you're right. The early MLs, I believe, were all-wheel drive or 4-wheel drive, but my mom's isn't that old. My dad's is like pretty new. It's only like 6 years old. Um, yeah, the idea of just having something that's like sporty and fun, but I don't necessarily need to let like wet or snowy roads like stop me is like way more exciting than just buying like a sports car. So I think like if I was gonna go out there and buy like a car right now, I'd try to find like a Golf R or a WRX STI because there's nothing else. There's nothing else that's like all wheel drive and like fun to drive new.
Have you considered buying a Type R, which is not all-wheel drive, but is front-wheel drive?
Yes, I like the Type R a lot. Um, that's it. I mean, there's nothing I dislike about the Type R. I do think it's a little sterile compared to traditional sports cars, but it's probably the best front wheel drive sports car in the market. That fucking Hyundai,
Hyundai.
the Hyundai
Hyundai.
Hyundai, that was it, the Veloster N.
Yeah.
That's fucking I like, pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Veloster N is is much better value for the money because it's cheap. You get like 80% of the Type R for like what is it, like 60% of the price?
I won't lie to you, man. When I sit in those Hyundais, like they're cool cars, but they are cheap as fuck on the inside.
Oh yeah, no, like
It
it
is
is totally.
gross. It is like it is. I hate it. I can't stand how cheap and shitty. Like it's on par with like the Focus and the Fiesta. It's just like
Yeah, I mean,
ugh.
the Veloster N, it makes no aspersions about being, a half step up from the Focus ST. It is explicitly a car for the person who wants a Focus RS used. And Hyundai said, "What if instead of that you bought a brand new car from us?"
uh, 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 yeah, fuck that. It drives like a fucking bat out of hell, but it feels like you're sitting in a bag of potato chips. I mean,
Well,
it's
yeah,
just so gross on the inside. I
they
can't.
spent no money on the interior because they spent all the money on how it drives.
But it doesn't even drive that great. It drives better than a Civic Si.
Yeah,
Not quite as good as the Type R. Okay, I'm
yeah.
talking about the Veloster. Maybe not the N, the Veloster Turbo, because that's the only one I've driven.
Oh, the Veloster Turbo is a totally different thing. The N is a completely different car.
Okay, yeah, because I just realized that's the new one, and I haven't driven that yet.
Yeah,
Like that just came out.
The old Veloster sucks. The old Veloster is I don't know
Not
who buys
the
that car.
second gen Veloster.
Yes, the second gen Veloster, not the
Yeah,
first
the
gen.
first gen was always bad, even no matter what flavor. But the second gen was a little bit better to drive. They're not very much of a hatchback. It's kind of got the same problem as the Fiat 500, where there's really, I mean, it's a hatchback, but there's nowhere to put anything. And I don't know.
I don't like I think the three-door thing is cool, but
Yeah, I didn't dislike it. It just was like, it reminds me of a Nissan Juke, and like, I don't want anything to remind me of a Juke.
how does the three-door thing remind you of a Juke?
This Juke had 3 doors.
No, it doesn't.
What the fuck am I thinking of?
I have no idea.
Maybe it's the Mini. Are you sure
No.
the Juke didn't have those doors?
I'm very certain the Juke is symmetrical.
What had those doors?
The Veloster.
Well, I know the RX-8 had similar. We talked about the RX-8 last time. The RX-8 had similar doors.
No, the Veloster has a style door on the driver's side,
And then
and
like two small, like a small passenger side door and a suicide door on the other side.
no, it's not a suicide door. It's a regular door. The Veloster is a coupe on one side and a sedan on the other side.
Ugh. A hatchback on every side.
Yeah, it's like I've it makes sense. Like if you just stop thinking about like what it looks like and how it's built and just like I spent a bunch of time talking about last week. Like if you just think about what is good on paper, the Veloster is perfect because getting in and out of a coupe is the best for the driver, and having your own personal door for the back seat is best for the passengers.
Oh my God. The Hyundai Veloster is the Christopher Nolan's Tenet of cars.
It is
It's great
like
on paper, but its execution is sloppy.
like well no, it's just that it's weird because humans value symmetry over almost everything else, and it is
Oh,
inherently unsymmetrical.
humanity blows. Look, uh, I like weird cars. I like weird cars that are out there on the market. Not enough to like support them financially, mind you. If something was weird and cool at the same time, I would be way more into it. Like the Subaru SVX. Like that car is weird, but it looks like a cool car. The Hyundai Veloster is a weird car, but it looks like a hatchback. I
What's the weirdest car you could buy today?
mean, the Cube is off the market.
Yeah.
Maybe the Veloster's on that list. The smart car is still out there.
Oh, that's right. They said the smart cars aren't selling. Let's only sell them as electrics.
Yeah, because those little golf cart electric cars did so well. I'm willing to say that the Veloster may be the weirdest car out there.
What is
Like
Nissan?
new on the market right now.
What is Nissan selling right now?
The Rogue Sport,
The
the Altima, the
the Kicks.
Maxima.
You can buy a Kicks.
Oh yeah, the Kicks is the new Juke.
Yeah.
Because the Juke didn't do very well.
I fucking love it when companies just keep selling the old one and just like don't give any sort of a shit about it.
um yeah, they just rebranded the Juke.
No, that's not the Kicks is a totally different thing.
Isn't it? It's just like the next Juke though. It's the same size and the same engine, isn't it?
Yeah, but they still sell they made a next generation Juke and they sell in other countries.
Oh yeah, I mean if the platform's the same, whatever. The Juke just was a marketing failure in the United States. Its main
Because
reason
it
is
looks like shit.
yeah, and its name rhymes with puke.
Damn.
I mean, it was just a. I mean, I knew somebody that bought a Juke, and I drove it, and I was like, this isn't terrible. It's just I don't get it. Did you know that the design of the Juke is based on a Ducati? If you
Whoa.
look at it from the side, it has like the profile of a motorcycle with a rider on it. That's why it has those wheel haunches. And then the center console on the inside of a Juke is styled like the gas tank on a Ducati. That's why it's this weird bulbous shape of plastic. I thought that was kind of interesting. I was like, okay, they tried to really they really tried to make something. You know? They really tried. 2021 Nissan Juke. Okay, so that Juke looks cool. That Juke looks way better. This is not on sale in the United States.
No.
They have a Nismo RS. I remember when they did the Nismo RS. Nissan Juke 2021 FAQs. Number one FAQ. Is my Nissan Juke a lemon?
Oh, bad news.
If we had decent consumer laws, I reckon you would be in line to get a new car refund. But as we don't, you face a difficult and stressful time trying to resolve the issues with your car.
This interior looks pretty good.
It looks fine. Yeah.
Like, I mean, I would never buy this, but I think people would buy this.
I think people would buy this. I think you're exactly right. I like Nissan. I've always thought they made a solid car. Ah, what the fuck?
No, they don't. The Rogue Sport is literally the old shitty Rogue, except they put new lights on it,
Yeah.
and it's still selling it.
Isn't that funny? That's what's wrong with Nissan is that they just don't have their finger on the beat of the pulse of the consumer desires and needs and the market. They just don't have their finger on the pulse of the market anymore.
Well, no, the thing with Nissan is they have been run by Gond for the last 15, 20 years, and his his message was to cut costs at any cost, and they
Yeah.
have. Like their lineup is old as hell.
Oh god, it's on sale in Australia. That's where you can get a Juke.
Perfect.
It's only in like Brazil and Australia. Whatever. I think they have a good
Well,
design car. I think they have comfortable interiors. I think they're efficient. But yeah, being in a Nissan, every time I get in a Nissan, it's just like I kind of wish I'd had the Honda or the Mazda.
the Armada, the 2020 Armada looks 15 years old.
Cause guide. It is 15 years old.
When did they start selling this generation Armada?
The new Armada came out like in 2016.
No, it hasn't been that long.
Maybe that's because the old Armada was a body on frame SUV and it was a 7-passenger SUV.
Okay, June 2016.
Yep. The new Armada is just that Infinity that nobody wants. That ugly, ugly Infinity. No, I think, yeah. What else do they sell? The Pathfinder. The Pathfinder was the one I thought would be a huge hit, and I was totally wrong about that. So I really like the engine in the Pathfinder. The Murano is the official car of your angry mother. It's just like you're going to be late for soccer practice. We can't stop by GameStop and get you the new Pokemon if you're late for soccer practice. I don't want to play soccer. I want to play Pokemon. Get in the Rogue. I like the looks of the Rogue. It kind of looks like a Subaru Forester, but with better looks. 181 horsepower. Fuck that.
What does that have? What car is this?
The Nissan Rogue.
No.
The Rogue Sport is just the old Rogue. You're right. Ugh, I hate it when Volkswagen did that. When they introduced the new Tiguan that you have, they kept the old Tiguan on the market as the Tiguan Limited.
Hell yeah, Nicole was telling me about that. Some people tried getting her to look at the old Tiguan's, and
Oh,
she's like,
they
"No,
were
I want
such good deals. They were terrible cars, but you got them for dirt cheap. I was looking at some of the deals when I worked at Volkswagen of like what people were getting. I was like, God, they're getting a fully loaded Tiguan with the big engine, and they're getting it for like $150 less than the brand new car. It's like, yeah, just go for that. They had a better warranty on them. They were shitty cars though compared to the new Tiguan's. And the
which
only new
are not
Tiguan's,
like amazing cars."
I think they're amazing cars when you compare them to the competition. I think they come very close to the top when you're looking at 4-cylinder front-wheel drive crossovers.
With the enormous caveat of you cannot keep it a day past the warranty.
I mean, I extended my warranty on my Volkswagen because I can never get out. I know I can't sell it. I have no idea how many years I will have to keep that car. That's why I extended the warranty. Well, all I want for I don't want anything car related this year. It's kind of weird. I found cars to be exhausting in 2020
Yeah, I could see that.
because I got in that wreck and then I had to buy a new car and then I had to take care of the negative equity from the wreck. And then now I never drive because I live at home in Oklahoma. And if I do drive, I drive my dad's swanky ass Mercedes SUV.
How many miles are on the Golf?
8,400,
Oh wow,
8,600.
Wow, you are only at like half of my Civic.
It's been 2 weeks since I drove it. That's not true. It's been about a
What?
week.
How much? Do you remember about how much mileage it had on it when you got to Oklahoma?
It definitely had like 6,000 or
Okay,
less.
so you've put like
I did when I got here. I like explored the state and went on drives and like went for little, you know, I'm gonna go up and see this pretty place and then drive back because there's nothing to do during COVID times.
sure.
Now that it's winter, it's like, it's significant. I don't know how cold it is in Austin today, but like today,
It was like
it's
low 40s. It's been like around freezing for a while, but with no chance of snow because like we'll get a high pressure front and it'll drop the temperature, but then it's super dry.
yeah.
So
We just got our high pressure front and the temperature went up because yesterday it was 25 and hazy, and then it was snowing for the 2 days before that, and then today we got a really nice high of 45, 49. I think today's high was 50, and it's going to be like 42, which is nice. It's not going to drop below freezing. But anyway, my point is, it's hard to drive, even if I have just like a little hatchback. It's hard to fucking drive in these like winter conditions.
in these trying times.
It's hard to drive in these trying times, but for any reason. I mean, especially to just like do nothing. It's just like a hard sell. Oh yeah, baby. But tomorrow I will go get another CBD cartridge.
And make it a smoke.
Make it a smoke. CBD is like that is really what is keeping me from getting my like medical marijuana card. Well, that and the fact that I don't have enough money for it.
Oh, here's my Rock Auto link in case you wanted to see it.
Rock auto, like a rock auto.
The neighbor kids just like stand outside and throw this football back and forth like we're in some 1960s movie, and I kind of low key hate it because I wish I was that simple.
You and I were always indoor boys.
Oh yeah. I just don't understand like how they just throw this football back and forth down the street every single day.
You know what? I'll bet money
Every
it's the only
single
way to get away
day.
from their parents, or their parents.
No, they play with their dad all the time.
Their dad probably makes them. Their dad's like, "You're going outside. You're putting the iPad down. You're going outside with me." 60 Minutes said it's absolutely unacceptable that you spend 8.5 hours on Facebook. Oh, let's go. Come on. Tippy Tappy Brandon's link. Look at these Chinese. I don't know. This link might be broken. Oh, this is what Rock Auto looks like.
Yeah.
This is a nightmare. God, who designed this shit? You just have to buy all the parts by themselves. That's not bad, man. That's it's $116
For what?
for one end. Is that just one end?
What are you talking about?
It says grand. Oh, subtotal. Sorry, subtotal 422.64.
Plus tax plus shipping comes out to about $500.
Uh, room tempies. I would put this on the screen, but you don't want to see it.
No, it's boring.
It's boring. It's too boring. I remember once our good friends of the podcast, Charles and Victor, we had just gotten back from the Blanc Pas 24 hour, or no, Blanc Pas 500. It was a race out at Circuit of the Americas in Austin. It was freezing cold. And Charles and Victor were like, let's go toss the football around the backyard. And they both did. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? And I stayed inside and like drank all their beer. People do that though. It's like I never tried to play catch with my dad. Like we've definitely done it before, but like we'd both rather just like talk about like do like bond over other shit.
James Bond.
Mm. Bond, James Bond. I'm so pissed that the new Bond movie isn't coming out, and I don't know why because the last one was so terrible. I just like James Bond. I just miss all the things. This time last year, there was like a list of shit I was like getting excited for. Like Dune was coming out. I was gonna see this new blah 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 film and this, that, and the other. Buh, 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 buh. The trailer to James Bond was out this time last year. Was it coming in April? Well, that's in 4 months. Holy shit! It canceled. Canceled because of the COVID virus.
Happy birthday, James. No James Bond for you.
Happy birthday, James Bond. God, this last year I went out to 24 Diner on my birthday with Sam and Wendy. Got beer and a burger. And went to Waterloo Records. I bought the soundtrack to Heat on vinyl, on record. I hate people who say on vinyl. I'm trying to break that habit. I'm a useless hipster fuck. On vinyl. It's a record. It's called a record. It's made out of vinyl.
I buy all my stickers on vinyl.
Yeah, me too. I bought my dad a like vintage wooden yo-yo for Christmas.
Okay.
I'm gonna put it in his stocking, and it came with these stickers. It came with these like fucking like yo-yo store stickers, and one of
Jesus.
them I've already put on my laptop because I know he doesn't want these. One of them I've already put on my laptop, and it's just a picture, a black and white photograph of Albert Einstein with like a yo-yo coming up from out off frame, and it says less math, more yo-yo.
Hell yeah.
Like what?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Who the fuck made this?
Hell yeah. A genius.
Yeah,
A
it's
genius
like,
made this. Fuck math.
fuck math. Albert Einstein with his numbers and his chalk and his like haircut, and he like escaping Nazi Germany and like
Fuck that. Fuck that.
vowing never to return to a socialist republic after Hitler took power.
Well, I mean, not the Nazis weren't socialists, but okay.
They said that,
They were,
right?
they're what?
They were fascists, right?
Yes.
Thank God.
And they call themselves, but they call themselves the National Socialist Party. What do you mean they're not socialists? Just like how North Korea is the Democratic People's Republic, and it's absolutely none of those things.
Well, it's like
Turns out words
China.
don't mean
China's
anything.
not fucking communist anymore at all, unless it's like the government's like, oh, we're going to tell you what to do now.
I mean, kind of. Like they still have they still centrally plan a lot of things, but yeah, it's mostly just it's mostly capitalism with a state infusion of cash where they think it'll be helpful with no pretense of the free economy knows best. Whereas like the Chinese will literally just give money to a company if they think they'll beat the Americans somehow. Like they gave Huawei a bunch of money when Huawei started getting banned from America because the Chinese didn't want all of this radio technology to go to waste.
Yeah, well,
and they didn't want the
technically,
company.
Huawei belongs to the Chinese government
Oh, does it?
because it's a company in China, and the Chinese government can just be like, "That's ours."
Hell
The
yeah.
government.
Hell yeah.
Fuck. I hate China. I was out on China when I watched that. Like, I hate Vice, but I used to really be into Vice. There's a Vice special about the Chinese ghost cities. Have you ever seen this?
No.
China has built like replicas of Paris and Rome and Las Vegas in China. In order to accomplish this, what they did was the government evicted hundreds of thousands of villagers. They took their land and then they just concreted over it and built these replica cities. There's like a Paris in China, and it is completely abandoned because no citizen of China can afford to live there. And the same, they're all abandoned. There's like the Vice did this special. Oh man, God, I was in college, so it was a long time ago. and it was just about these villagers who are like now living in Hong Kong or like cities in China, and they're just like can't afford food. We're homeless now because the government just evicted us, and I was like, man, fuck China, like fuck this. Like they thought that if they made if their own Paris, they would just be like, why go to Paris? You
We
could
got
come here.
Paris
We
too.
got Paris too. We got Titanic. They're building a Titanic. They're building a
Hell yeah.
fucking replica of the Titanic,
Titanic 2.
but it can't fucking sail. It's a floating hotel, but it doesn't float. It's just the ship that's like welded into the ground and you can get on it and it's like surrounded by water. It's a terrible fucking idea. Titanic 2 is actually a real thing. This Australian billionaire is trying to launch Titanic 2, and it's just a replica of the original ship with modern safety equipment.
Hell yeah.
You gotta remember, the Titanic set sail in 1912. They didn't have any radar. They had lookouts with megaphones and binoculars looking for icebergs. And that's why the Titanic really fucking sank. Because they built this ship that they said was unsinkable, and then the captain was like, okay, full speed ahead to New York and go straight through that part of the ocean with floating mountains made out of ice in it.
It's unsinkable.
Yeah, we don't have anything to worry about. It's unsinkable. And then 11 Academy Awards later, we all know what happened.
That movie got 11 Academy Awards.
Yes, it is the fourth most successful movie in human history.
What is the first?
Avatar. Not kidding. The first most. No. Avatar got beaten by Endgame. Endgame is the most successful.
Okay, that's good.
I know Titanic is a comfortable number 4 because it still makes money because it's still in theaters.
I don't really care about Marvel, but I cannot abide by the ponytail sex movie being number 1.
I hate Avatar. I like James Cameron too, but Avatar was just like
it's so ham-fisted and stupid, and I remember watching it in 3D and feeling ill immediately.
Okay, so here's the thing about Avatar. Here's the thing about Titanic. I'm a big Titanic buff. Like when I was a kid, I was really into ship history and stuff, and like I read all these books about the Titanic and like why it sank and how it was built, and like who built it and the implications historically, and I love all that shit. So the movie was like a blast for me. But the reason Titanic is so successful is because the story aims for the average audience goer. Like if you look at a bell curve of the IQ of like an average movie going audience, Titanic's story takes aim for right at the top of that bell curve. So the most people will enjoy it. The story of Titanic is pretty simple. It's like it's star-crossed lovers. Like that's the story, and to the background of an actual historical disaster. That like the movie is made, the production quality is so good. Like it's made with miniatures and actual models and extras before all the CGI shit. And it's just genuinely entertaining and emotional. Titanic is a phenomenal film. The story, though, has the same problem that Avatar has, where it's just like, I get it. I mean, like, I know already what's going to happen from like the first 10 minutes of the fucking movie because this is just Romeo and Juliet. Rich girl, poor guy. And I mean, James Cameron was really big on historical accuracies, but his two protagonists literally looked like they got in a time machine in Los Angeles and just ended up on the Titanic. Like Kate Winslet does a much better job than Leonardo DiCaprio. Leonardo DiCaprio looks like a backstreet boy trying not to tell people that he's from the future. Like in this whole movie, he doesn't look like anybody else. He's cleaner than everybody else. And I can tell you why that is, but I would spoil the movie, and I know you haven't seen it. So I'll wait until you've seen it and I can theorize.
Is it because he has a bowl cut?
No, that's the problem. But I won't tell you like why he's idealized because that would spoil the movie because it does have to do with the motivations of the protagonists.
Because she's like the whole thing about the movie is like it's Rose recounting her only true love to her grandchildren about some teenager she had sex with in a car 60 years ago.
Yeah, that's the theory, is that Leonardo DiCaprio is so pretty in the movies because it's from her memory. And like he's not the original, he's not really Jack, he's the imagined version. I think that's too deep for Titanic. I don't think
Yeah.
Chris. I don't think.
No.
I think that's too deep for Titanic. I think.
Yeah.
I think James Cameron was just like, look, I make movies, but more importantly than that, I make movies that make money. Like that's what James Cameron's fucking thinking when he made Titanic. He's like, I make
Yeah.
movies, but I make movies that make money. Like
I make money.
I make money, okay? Like I'm James Cameron. I got a Titanic to visit. I'm gonna go get on my submarine and I'm gonna go back to the Titanic. 3 years after he makes Titanic, he makes another movie about the Titanic that goes exclusively on IMAX called Ghosts of the Abyss. And I saw it and I was like, this sucks. It was like he like, God damn it. He like went down to the fucking Titanic again.
Hell yeah.
And he like superimposed like the like 3D models of the real people that died on the
Fuck
Titanic.
yes.
Like Mr. Andrews and Murdoch, the first officer of the and Captain Smith and J. Bruce Ismay. He's sneaking off to that lifeboat. And who could forget the noble death of Guggenheim and John Jacob Astor? The heirs to the Macy's department store died on the Titanic. The inventors of Macy's died on the Titanic. Titanic's crazy, dude. The history is fucking like mind-blowingly cool. But anyway, the most successful movie on Earth, okay, is Avengers Endgame. It made $2,797,800,564. Avatar is number 2. It made $2,790,000,000.
Are these inflation adjusted dollars?
I mean, Endgame came out in 2019.
That's what I'm saying. Is that Avatar came in like 2010? Is that adjusted dollars or real dollars?
It just says worldwide gross. It doesn't say it's adjusted. It doesn't say it's adjusted.
Because if it's not adjusted, then Avatar still made way more money.
Avatar, the last data was retrieved on July 21st, 2019. So that was the 10-year anniversary of its release, and it was re-released last year.
Oh, so that's just like a running total then.
It's all a running total because they all, I mean, like the number 3 is Titanic. So Titanic actually got bumped up. It now has topped Star Wars The Force Awakens. Harry Potter Part 2, the final Harry Potter movie is number 13. The Fate of the Furious is number 19.
Hell yeah.
Iron Man 3.
It is
Iron Man 3
injustice.
was good.
It's not. It is total injustice that the ponytail sex movie is higher than Tokyo Drift.
Dude, I hate Avatar. My original point with Titanic was like James Cameron does that again, where he makes like a story that aims for like average audience goers, but the backdrop is the problem with Avatar. Like, see, Titanic is something we're all fascinated by. Like, we all want to know about like this big ship that sank. 1,500 people died on the Titanic. I mean, that's a lot of fucking people dying in the middle of the ocean. And it really fucking happened. And James Cameron made an action movie out of it, and he got 11 Academy Awards. I mean, that's just our culture, okay? Avatar is just Halo, and then Pocahontas happens to Master Chief. Who gives a shit? Who fucking cares about fucking Avatar? It wasn't even everybody's like, oh, the special effects are mind-blowing. No, they're not.
No, they're not.
They're not. They're like fucking PS4 quality.
It looks like shit.
It looked like I saw that in theaters by myself, and I was so high. I like smoking a fire joint. I was in the car. I was like, I gotta go see this fucking movie. I'm not gonna like it. It looked dumb. I hated the fucking font on the poster was papyrus. It was fucking papyrus. The papyrus is the Comic Sans of Comic Sans. It's the worst fucking font. Ugh.
The decorative stone street signs here in Austin downtown are all in papyrus.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's so dumb. It's like the fucking font you choose when you're like making a like book report about ancient Egypt in like 5th grade. It's like, oh, it has to be a papyrus.
Yeah, like papyrus is what like 5th graders who don't know any better use. It is not for creatives who know better.
Yeah, it's a font made for kids. We learned about that in General Assembly. Like some fonts are just made for kids, and like Comic Sans is made for kids, and
Yeah.
Papyrus and Wingdings is supposed to be funny. Wingdings was made to get a laugh out of somebody. Um,
Or like Wingdings is super useful if you have access to changing fonts but not the ASCII set. So you
yeah,
can't have them so that was Wingdings was how you did things like emojis 15 years ago.
yes, that's right. And I did when I used to use AIM.
Yeah.
I would always just get on Wingdings, and then like I would have my fucking like emojis set that I use. I would copy and paste it from this like text file I had. Just
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
uh, we
Yeah,
forget how
dude.
far we've come sometimes, don't we?
Yeah, like Wingdings was super useful because because before emojis were a thing, that was kind of the only way you could do things like get like religious symbols or have easy access to things like the copyright symbol was Wingdings.
It was just sort of a catch-all
Yeah, it
for
was
like
a great.
obscure symbols that aren't on your keyboard
Yeah,
or alt
exactly.
function.
Yeah.
But okay, to close out my point about Avatar, the reason Avatar isn't universally loved is because it's not about a subject matter that the general public is generally curious about. This is my theory. Avatar had a story that really like the majority of audience goers connected with, but it had a gimmick that it could never really live up to. It was in 2009 an extremely impressive film with very advanced graphics. I just don't think the graphics were used well because of, the uncanny valley. When I see Sigourney Weaver's face on that blue ponytail sex basketball player sized alien, I don't like it. I really think it looks bad because it's the uncanny valley.
Yeah.
It's too realistic. When something that imitates reality becomes too realistic, it is uncomfortable. And James Cameron was obsessed with this idea that he could like, we don't need actors, we don't need makeup, we just need computers. And I think he's wrong. I think movie makers like that are wrong. You need Titanic had extras and models and miniatures and some CGI. And these production things all mixed well, and they were equal portions, and they were made appropriately, and it thrilled audiences. Avatar is like watching a fucking cutscene from Halo 5. And that's why it doesn't work, because there's not the like soul. Maybe he's gonna learn from it because he's finishing up the third Avatar right now, and he's gonna release them back to back. I do know Kate Winslet is going to be in Avatar 2. She just set a world record for holding her breath underwater shooting a scene for Avatar 2. And you should see that scene. Like if I email you that picture, it's like she's got these like fake wings underwater and she's in like one of those CGI suits. And it's just like, why? Like I get that for a movie. Like I love the Mission Impossible movies so much because it's just Tom Cruise blowing a wad of cash on like stunts. It's just him doing his own stunts. And the story is like, who cares? There's bad guys, there's good guys, there's guns and explosions. Mission Impossible. Entertain me on a plane ride. That's Mission Impossible. But like Avatar, oh my God.
I think Avatar would be a lot more culturally relevant if they had actually stuck to the plan and got the movies out.
Well, James Cameron's a crazy person. He's the Hideki Anno of the United States.
So
He
what?
is. He's our Hideki Anno. He's like,
So what exactly? Why didn't these movies just come out?
because multiple reasons. It was a financial blockbuster, but Cameron was like, we messed up on like this like he was like Howard Hughesing a little bit. He was like, it's got to be perfect next time. No, it's got to be perfect. It's got to be perfect. And then fucking, I'm actually right here on the Wikipedia.
Because I remember at the time hearing that a sequel would come out soon, and like Disney was going to build an Avatar land. And then Disney built the Avatar land like fucking 4 years ago, and it was like, oh right, Avatar. I remember that. What the fuck are we doing with this now? And then, I hearing this year they're coming out with the sequels, and it's just like, holy shit, we're still doing this? Who? Why?
The Wikipedia just says 2 sequels to Avatar were initially confirmed after the success of the first film. This number was subsequently expanded to 4. Their respective release dates were previously December 17th, 2021, December 22nd, December 20, December 22nd, 2023, December 19th, 2025, and December 17th, 2027. But due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the 4 Avatar sequels releases have been
No, no, no.
delayed.
Yeah, yeah. See, that's like recent history. That's like late 2019 this year. Um, I want to know what the plan was for Avatar in 2010. Like, what was going on with Avatar in 2010? Because to
Nothing.
me,
He didn't do anything.
yeah, because it
Okay, so
it seems like
this is what I think. So when Titanic ended, right? Do you know what James Cameron did? He
no.
spent 10 years making documentaries about the Titanic. And I will say like we know so much about that ship, and we know so much about the history of that liner and the people who are on it now because of all the money that James Cameron just pumped into Titanic research and historical preservation. We were able to bring a big piece of the hull up that's now in Belfast. It's in the Titanic and White Star Museum in Belfast. And we are able to bring more artifacts from the Titanic up than ever before. And we know more about the history of this ship than we did before the movie because of the movie. So James Cameron has a habit of doing this. He makes his big movie, he makes a shitload of money, and then he goes and he spends it on his passions. And his passion is he's his history. He's a history guy. He wants, he made Terminator because he was really into like World War II. He made Aliens. Well, he made Aliens because he had to. But he made True Lies, and he made True Lies because he likes tits. But and nuclear bombs exploding. And that movie has Jamie Lee Curtis and Arnold Schwarzenegger in it, and they both have tits. So James Cameron's a tits guy. James Cameron made Avatar, right? He spent like the last like 6 or 7 years just fucking doing what he wanted with the billions and billions of fucking dollars. This says here, in 2011, Cameron, Lightstorm, and Fox entered into an exclusive licensing agreement with the Walt Disney Company to feature Avatar-themed attractions at Disney parks and resorts. Like you just said, I think once he did that, he was just like, "All right, I can ride this Avatar cash for a bit longer." And on November 24th, 2018, Cameron announced that filming on Avatar 2 and 3 with the principal performance capture cast had been completed. So the footage capturing the actors has been done since 2018. Sources on that are Jeff Butcher on Deadline Hollywood, November 2018. In September 2020, so that was just a couple months ago, Cameron confirmed that the live action filming had been completed for 2 and was over 90% completed for 3. So Cameron has just sort of taken the capitalist approach to this franchise. And that is, I'm going to put one on the conveyor belt, and then 2 years later, I'm going to put the other one on the conveyor belt. And if it's anything like the first one, the audiences are going to fucking eat it up. And, I may like the sequels. Ever since The Dark Knight came out, I have been more interested in the sequels. I mean, I have been interested in the idea that a sequel could be better than the original, because that was never the case before The Dark Knight. And then nowadays, sometimes sequels are better than the first ones. It's like Batman Begins was okay. The Dark Knight was really like The Dark Knight was like a masterpiece. But like, it's like um Star Trek, the Star Trek reboots. The first one's pretty good. The second one's ass. But the third one is awesome.
So what are these called again? I remember seeing them in the theaters, and I've never seen them again.
Star Trek. The first one was just Star Trek.
Okay.
The second one is Into Darkness.
Is that the one where they find Spock on the moon?
No, that's Star Trek 2. No, that's Star Trek 3. Wait, no, that was the first. That was Star Trek. Spock was on a moon in the first one. Old Spock,
Okay. Yeah.
Leonard Nimoy Spock.
Yeah.
That was the first one.
Okay.
I hate that fucking scene where he's like on this planet and he watches Vulcan be destroyed. It's just like, motherfucker, if you could see a planet be destroyed from the planet you were on, you are in serious fucking danger. Like you can't just stand outside and be like, oh, the moon is imploding. Like, yeah, you are in serious, like the gravitational.
So what was the other one I saw then? Fuck.
Well, the second one had Benedict Cumberbatch in it and he was Khan. That's the one where Spock like beats him up and they crash their ship into the middle of a city. Like
Yes.
it's no
Okay,
big
that's the one I
deal
saw.
right at
That
the
was
end.
yes.
That
Yeah.
one sucks. I hate
It's
that.
not good. It's not good.
But the bad guy in that movie was fucking RoboCop. I thought that was cool. Like his daughter was like the hot blonde lady that they just gratuitously like show her in her underwear for one point. I'm like, come on. Canonically, her character is Captain Kirk's wife in Star Trek. So I thought that was kind of cool, but she wasn't back for the third one. The third one was different because that was not directed by J.J. Abrams because he was busy with Star Wars. That was directed by James Wan, who is the director of all the oh god, those like horror movies with the doll, like Annabelle movies. And he did a Fast and Furious movie. He did the Hobbs and Shaw film, and he did Fate of the Furious. Anyway, the third one is the best one. It is the most Star Trek out of those three. And that was the one where Idris Elba, I've only seen it like one time, and I went to the theater to see it with my dad. That was the one where Idris Elba is like the shape shifting alien. That one's pretty good, but it's nowhere near as good as like the Star Trek movies.
I'm convinced J.J. Abrams is a hack.
I am too. After the last Star Wars movie, I was like, he's just a fucking hack. He's not just a hack, he's a selfish prick. That's my main problem with him. Is like he had this opportunity to make Star Wars something special, and he directed The Force Awakens, and then this guy named Ryan Johnson, who is a nobody, who directed like two monster movies, uh, and Godzilla, directed Star Wars, and like
Completely
just
upstaged him.
yeah, and then like so because J.J. Abrams is such a fucking piss pants crybaby, he fucking comes in and does the Rise of Skywalker and just rushes to the finish line because he's got to add all this dialogue on top of the movie he already wrote that undoes everything Ryan Johnson did. And so the new Star Wars sequel is like one okay movie followed by two pissing contest films. But these two egotistical director shitheads just, and Disney was just like, we fucked up. We should never have let the nerds be in charge. Like, we forgot that George Lucas made these movies, but he's not one of these weird, sad dorks. He's a filmmaker. And then, like, Disney just really doubled down on the whole, like, look at this Star Wars is for the people who love Star Wars. Cut to, like, an overweight family, and the wife has, like, a Skrillex haircut with, like, an
because
ice blue haircut.
it's like Star Wars by committee versus what people who like Star Wars actually want, which is Rogue One.
Yeah, I love Star Wars, but I had a lot of problems with Rogue One. I don't think Rogue One's a very good movie, but I think it's all right. Like,
yeah, I don't think Rogue One is like. I've heard a lot of takes that Rogue One is like the best Star Wars movies, and I can't get behind that.
oh
But
God, no.
I think Rogue One is definitely the bravest Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
And with that, I have to go.
Okay. Well, Merry Christmas from
Merry Christmas. I'll talk to you later, James. Probably later tonight.
Okay. Goodbye, everyone. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and respectful holiday season. Bye bye.